friends, this is Busy Bee. I'm Beya, and I am going to show you today how to make this little elephant in place of our sewing classes. So you can make this at home with any fabric you have laying around. If you don't have any fabric, you can use old clothes or just anything you find that you don't need anymore. So first off, we're going to take the pattern piece in the PDF that we have for you, and you're going to place it somewhere that uses up the least amount of fabric, if that makes sense, so you're not wasting any. I'm going to set that there to weigh it down. You're going to trace. And you're going to be cutting out 2 of these elephant pieces, so make sure you've got enough fabric for that. Alright, once you've got the first layer traced, you're going to flip it over onto the other side. So we'll have 2 of these to cut out for each side of the elephant. Alright, let's move on to the ears. You're going to cut 4 of these pieces to make sure that we have 2 for each flap. Again, try to use the least amount of space as possible when cutting out a pattern piece. You're gonna do 2 of this and 2 of that. So 2 flip this way and 2 flip that way. Alright, now that we've got those traced, you can go ahead and cut those out. Try to be careful cutting the curves. Alright, now that we've got everything cut out, we're going to take 2 of the ears and put them right sides together. So mine has polka dots on them. You're going to want both of the polka dots touching each other. And you'll do that to both of the ears. And what we're going to do is we're going to sew all around the bottom, but leave this top open. So start here, go around, stop there. Okay, so this part you don't really need to pin, but if you'd like to, you can. We're going to do 1/4 inch, so leave it at the edge of your presser foot. And you're going to sew. Alright. And sometimes if the fabric starts to bunch up, what you can do is put the needle in the fabric and turn it slightly with the presser foot lifter. Just to make that nice circle. Go ahead and cut away the extra string, and for this part we're going to clip the corners. You can actually trim this down if you'd like. Not too close to this stitching. There's that. And then you can clip to make sure that when you flip it inside out, it's not going to bunch up at the curves. Alright, and when you flip this inside out, you're going to push out all the corners so it looks like a cute little elephant ear. And you're going to iron it, and when you iron it, push those inside and close it so it looks like a clean seam. Okay, so once you've got that sewn, We're going to iron the top part out, and this and the edges, I guess, you're gonna fold them in just barely and then pinch it shut and iron over the top of it. So when we sew it onto the elephant body, it's gonna be nice and flat. So with the elephant ears, once you've got them finished, we're gonna leave the open side, point it towards the trunk, and we're going to measure 2 inches from the face of the elephant in, and that's where we're gonna place the edge of the elephant ear. So measure on the same, on both the elephants. You place it, and then 2 inches down. So they're on the same spot on each side. Oops. Move that one. Okay. And then you can pin those right where they're at. I'll go through your fabric. There. Alright, and we're gonna sew just 1/8 of an inch seam allowance down on both sides of the ear. Alright, so once you've got the elephant ear on, we're going to sew it at 1/8 of an inch, so you can bring it in just halfway through the presser foot, and make sure the trunk isn't tucked under or anything, or else it'll get sewn on. Alright. And when you've got that on, you'll have those little ears sewn on. You can cut the strings. Oops. And we're going to sew the same thing on the other elephant. Sewn on, we're going to flip one side onto the other, so right sides together, and line up the edges. And we'll pin that together, and so we're going to leave a little spot open so we can flip it inside out. And we'll sew around this at 1/4 inch seam allowance. Alright, so if you'd like to add a tail at this point, we're going to put it right in between these 2 pins. It's sticking to me. And you're just going to take some yarn or ribbon if you have any, and I'm just going to fold it a couple times. Doesn't have to be exact length. And then I'm going to cut it. And then cut the loops you made on the bottom. And we're actually going to stick this on the inside and leave this poking out. So, if I can get it in there. Alright. And then put a pin over that so it stays put. Alright, so we're going to start sewing after this pin. So it's going to be upside down, but we're going to leave the gap right here. So we want to start right at this pin. We can take that out. Put our presser foot down and start sewing. Make sure to back stitch. Go right over the yarn, that's what's going to keep it in place. Get to this point, it's kind of hard to do that tight of a turn, so make sure your needle's in the fabric and twist. Lift the presser foot up and move your fabric. Same thing here. kind of gets harder on the curves, so just go with the fabric. If it starts to bunch, make sure the needle's in the fabric and then twist it with, or lift the presser foot and twist it. Once you get to the end, you can leave the pin and back stitch. Don't sew over the pin though. Okay, and now that we've got our elephant, we are going to clip the strings and flip it inside out. Actually, we need to clip the curves too, before we forget. Clipping the curves makes it so when you open it, or like flip it inside out, it's not all bunched up. So you just go right up against the seam and clip the fabric. Don't cut your yarn. You need big clips for the big back. And then tiny clips for the trunk. If you don't do this, the trunk will get bunched up and you won't be able to flip it inside out, which would be sad. Okay, and then you can flip it inside out. There's your tail, your ears, and your leg. Actually, that's the trunk. Okay. No, it's not. This is the trunk. Another thing that'll help if you have a long stick or like a dowel. Sometimes in these in the polyfill bags, they have a stick you can use. And you can use it to poke out the corners. So put the stick through the open spot. You can use it to poke out the feet and the trunk, because the trunk is especially hard. It's kind of a small small piece of fabric. Go through. One thing that helps if you reach from the inside and pull it out. And then your stick. And poke the rest of it out. And now you've got your empty elephant. Doesn't quite have his insides yet. Okay, the next step is to fill this dude. So we're gonna stuff him with either polyfill. It's like a really fluffy stuff that you can get in pillows and stuff. Or you can use any scrap fabrics that you have and just stuff them to your likeness. Alright, so just as we poked out the legs with the fabric, you can use the same stick to kind of reach in and push the fluffy stuff into the feet and the trunk. Okay. Alright, when you're done filling the elephant with your stuffing, we're gonna take this little gap that's open and we're going to hand sew it shut so that none of his insides come out. Alright, so once you've got an adult to help you thread your needle, we're gonna go, it's called a slip stitch. You've got it folded. We're gonna go through right here on the inside. So you start on the inside so the knot can go in and you don't have to see it. And we're gonna pull it across to the other side. Go through again. Actually, we'll go a little closer. Keep it tight and closed. It might even be easier to add some pins to hold it shut for you. Across and through. Pull your needle back. You reach the end of your hand sewing, you can pull it through one last time and leave the loop. And you'll put the needle through the loop and pull it tight. And then you'll do that one more time, pull it through, and then put the needle this way through the loop. And it creates a knot for you. And you can cut the string. And there's your elephant. You can name him, give him a home, sew some other fun stuff to give him.